Welcome to episode 4 of the FAB Podcast on WIS Sports Radio.
Excuse me.
The FAB Podcast is a monthly show for women in the sports business, and we believe that women in sports still deserve equal coverage. Hi, welcome to this month's episode of the FAB Podcast. For those joining our podcast for the first time, my name is Kristeen Reenders.
And I'm Tori Robinson.
And we are your hosts of the FAB Podcast. FAB stands for Females in Athletic Business, which is a trade organization for professional women and students pursuing careers in the sports business industry. FAB is designed to bring together women of all ages who love putting their passion for sports to work for them.
We want to give a huge thanks to our sponsor, It's On, for making our podcast possible. It's On is a lifestyle and apparel brand devoted to motivating players and people to achieve through hard work, dedication, discipline, and effort. It's On currently sells many different types of t-shirt designs to rep your city. Make sure to check out their website at itsoneverywhere.com and follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at itsoneverywhere.
So this month, FAB will be hosting a career event on April 20th in Lansing, Michigan. Registration is open right now, and the theme for that event is Survive, Thrive, Change. FAB will cover the topics of sexual harassment in the workplace, ways that we can bring change for women in our industry, and how to handle the mental strains that can affect women in our industry, like being available at all hours, getting little or no feedback, the ups and downs and moods, depending on wins or losses, and so much more. The keynote speaker for this event is Terry Jackson. This is going to be such a great event packed with useful information and some great networking opportunities. To register for this event, check out the FAB Facebook page and go under the events section to register. Did you know that joining Females in Athletic Business is 100% free? With many different networking opportunities, friendships, and insights on jobs, it's almost hard to not join. We would love to hear from you. If there's something or someone you would love to hear on an upcoming podcast, make sure to tweet us and let us know at fabsports.org. So today, I am so excited to interview Jocelyn Verveldes today on our 4th episode. I met Jocelyn a little over 6 years ago, and we both played volleyball at Central Michigan University. She was a senior when I was an incoming freshman, so of course I looked up to her, and I still do. It has been so much fun to watch Joss on her professional career journey and see her career develop and grow. Some of you may recognize Jocelyn's name as she was the March newsletter feature in the FAB Sports newsletter. Jocelyn is currently the Assistant Director of Strategic Communications for Penn State's Athletic Department. And today we're going to talk a little bit about her career path and how she got to where she is today. As a teammate and a friend, I'm so excited to introduce our April podcast guest, Jocelyn.
Hi guys, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Just looking out for the snow.
Yes. So why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners a little bit about your journey from where you started and where you're at today?
Okay, so I actually started as a sports management and journalism minor in college without even knowing that sports information was a career. So our assistant coach at Central, Dave, he kind of guided me into the sports information department at Central Michigan and was like, hey, maybe you should do an internship with them. Your academics match up exactly with what they do. So I kind of got into it that way, and by the second semester of my senior year, I was the contact for the track and field teams there, which was so much fun. It was such a great experience because I was working with people I knew, like my peers, but I also got to cover them and kind of highlight and showcase what they were doing. And I think that was a great beginning point for how I've approached the rest of my career, knowing that you need to build relationships with the people you're covering to get the best out of it. So from Central Michigan, I actually, again, Dave, Central's former assistant coach, was the one who guided me to Tennessee Tech, where he was the head coach, and told me they had an opening. I was there for 2 years, and then went to St. Leo University, which is a Division II school just outside of Tampa, Florida, and was there for another 2 years before now making my transition to Penn State, where I cover women's volleyball, men's lacrosse, and I'm actually the secondary for our men's basketball team.
Awesome. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, because I'm extremely unfamiliar, what that information, sports information, is kind of about? Like, what do you guys do?
Well, it's funny you say that because that's actually one of my goals as a sports information person. You, as a former student athlete, it kind of hurts me that you don't know what sports information.
I'm sorry.
But I didn't either. And that was kind of the whole thing. So as a sports information director, or my title is assistant director of strategic communication, it's all basically the same thing. We are the people who are posting updates to the school's athletic website. We're statting in games. Most of the time, we're the ones tweeting. We're the ones who have contact with the NCAAs for their statistics and their notes. For most sports, we travel with the team. So I travel with women's volleyball to every game. Men's lacrosse, I'll travel to any game we're on TV. I don't travel for men's basketball unless absolutely necessary. But right now, for postseason, it makes more sense for me to stay home so I can help our primary contact. We do game notes. We do the infographics that you see on Twitter and Facebook that kind of tell you and highlight what a player's doing. But then we also handle all the media requests that for our coaches and our student athletes.
Okay, wow. So yeah, I guess I knew that was a role, but I didn't know that it had a name. But that sounds really interesting. And it's kind of like the front, like what people actually see, like when you go on a website or you go on someone's Twitter. So that is very cool. So when you graduated from CMU, well, I guess for you it's a little bit different. So when you went into the sports management field, what did you think that you wanted to do?
Honestly, I knew I wanted to be in sports from the minute I graduated high school, probably before that. But my initial plan was to be a sports nutritionist. And then I realized I was terrible at science. So that quickly changed because, well, when you don't get good grades in science, you can't really be a nutritionist. So I kind of focused more on the things that I knew I was good at, which is writing and interacting with people. And originally, like I said, I didn't know that sports information was a thing either until my senior year of college. So I kind of was just going about it like maybe community relations, maybe anything like that. But PR, I guess, kind of stood out. And then that's more or less what I do now is PR for my teams.
Okay, awesome.
So tell us a little bit about like the day in the life of like strategic communications. Like what's a regular day like for you?
That's the one thing. No day is exactly the same. And that's what I love about it. Like today, for example, I had a meeting this morning. I've been doing game notes for my lacrosse game this weekend. And then tonight, I'm actually probably going to leave work early because I'm going to have to help our primary SID for men's basketball with all of our games for tonight's coverage. Whereas other days it could be like tomorrow, for example, I have 4 meetings that get me through lunch. And then I have 2 media availabilities where I have to meet with our media to sit down with our coach during 1 hour and then meet with our media again during another hour to sit down with our student athletes because we never let them really talk to the media without supervision. Just kind of gives them confidence and helps make sure the conversation is going in a direction that's positive for both the student athlete and the program. But then different days, I could just be in the office all day. If it's a game day, I'm probably coming in late because I'll be in really late. So that's what I love. It's never the same. I'm always doing something different. Some days it's sit and like putts on the computer. Other days it's go, 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 go. And I'm never bored.
Well, that's good. That's such go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say that's the fun part of like this industry is like no 2 days are the same, but then it's constant go, 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 but you're having fun at the same time.
Exactly. And as long as you're working with people you like, that's all that matters. And like my student athletes, I love them because they interact with me, and the better relationships I have with them, the easier it is to get them to come to media if someone wants to talk to them or get them to do something on social media. And it just makes it so much easier and more enjoyable for me to do my job.
Totally. And it's nice that you're kind of in the front lines too. Like you get to be with the teams on their game days and you get to kind of see how that all goes and then do the behind the scenes work in which the public sees. So I think that's really cool too.
Exactly.
So
awesome.
Coming from like And I get this question a lot just when people, when I talk to different student athletes at different universities, and they're always so interested into like how to transition from that student athlete to that sports administration professional. And so by you being a Division I athlete and now working at the Division I level, in athletics, like what experiences and like things do you think that you took from being a student athlete that prepared you for this? And then what advice would you give to that student athlete that wants to, get their foot in the sports industry?
I would say the biggest thing is utilize it to your advantage. For me, it's one of the things I kind of build my relationships with my student athletes on, so they understand I get what they're going through. I get that they've had practice on top of class, on top of this, and yet I'm asking something else of them if it is a media availability or something like that. But I want them to know that like I've also been there. So that's kind of how I build my relationships with my student athletes, and I utilize my experiences from it. Kristen can attest to this. I didn't have the best collegiate career. Lots of injuries, lots of things. Like I understand that every athlete goes through a different experience. So that's kind of how I've molded my like approach to approaching them. I also am the oldest of 5, and all of my siblings have been student athletes as well. So I kind of use that as well to be like, not necessarily like mom or big sister, but also like utilize that. Like I want what's best for them, just like I would what's best for my siblings who are going through it themselves. So that's kind of would be my my lesson to other people. Utilize what you have in your life to build on it and to build those relationships with the people you're working with, because that's ultimately all that matters. Like you can be good at certain things, but if the people you're working with don't trust you and don't want to work with you, your job is going to be impossible. The other thing I would say is set boundaries. Like if you're younger, like you're a year older, make sure they understand that like you're in a professional role and they're in a student athlete role. Like you can be quote unquote friends with them, but not friends with them, if that makes sense.
Right.
Absolutely.
Totally. And don't let Jess downplay you. She was a rock star. Like, I just want to get that out there. She was a rock star. But yeah, awesome. So, okay. So looking at your different experience, you mentioned going to St. Leo and Tennessee Tech. Yes. And like with your time at Central and now at Penn State, what were like the major differences with like the sizes of the schools? Because obviously Penn State is a little bit bigger than Central, and Central is a little bit bigger than St. Leo. So was there advantages or disadvantages? Like what were those differences?
So I've kind of, like you just said, been at a lot of different size schools. Tennessee Tech was probably the best opening experience I could have. It was Division I, but only probably about 11,000 people in the school. Small town atmosphere. All the fans were in the town, which was very similar to Central Michigan. It's a college town. Those are the people. That's the newspaper you're dealing with. Like, it was a good base to understand, like, oh, you build relationships with the media because they're who's here. When I went to St. Leo, you're a small D2 school just outside of Tampa, where Tampa has multiple pro teams, which is all the newspaper cares about. They hardly even care about the D1 schools that are there, or even one of the conference schools for St. Leo was also in Tampa, and they won national championships and barely got a blip in the paper. So at St. Leo, my role kind of changed from finding areas in the media to like highlight our people to what can we do on social, what can we do on our end to get those stories out that maybe they'll pick it up. But if they don't, at least we know we're getting engagement and views on our student athletes. But also at the smaller level, I was able to create amazing relationships with not only my own student athletes of the teams I covered, but almost all of the teams, because it was just so much smaller and everyone worked everything. Lots of our student athletes were our student workers. So you just kind of got to know everyone, and it made you want to work so much harder for them so they had the best experience. And now at Penn State, I'm utilizing both of those experiences from trying to, Penn State's way larger. I haven't even met half of the student athletes. It took me forever to learn our men's lacrosse players. Like it's a whole different world, but to know that I've had the experience with media from Tennessee Tech to grab that, but then also like use the relationship building experiences I got from St. Leo with my teams now just kind of has melded into this. Also, while I was at St. Leo, I covered 7 sports, which is a lot, which now I only really cover 2, but the workflow for 2 is almost the same as it was for 7, just based on need. So now I'm able to balance that because I had so much going on at St. Leo that now, even though I only have 2 sports, but they require so much more, I got good experience doing that.
Great. Awesome. So a lot of our listeners right now are either looking to pursue a career in the sports field, or they're professionals who are maybe looking to switch careers or just looking to gain more knowledge in the sports industry. So what information is there that you wish you would have known going into the industry that you know now, or any advice that you would give any of those listeners?
If you're looking for a 9-to-5, this is not it. But if you like the crazy, hectic, never the same lifestyle, college athletics in general are so much fun. And I feel like a speaker on repeat, but the relationships you build are second to none because you are in the trenches working with these people day in and day out, whether it's your student athletes, whether it's your coworkers, whether it's your coaches. And just the experience of that is second to none.
I agree. It's so interesting and inspiring too, because, we've had phenomenal women on this podcast. I mean, like sports information, sports communication, like that's really big. And a lot of people don't even know like what goes into stuff like that. We've had, inspiring women commissioners, so many different areas. And so I just want to know, like, who inspired you in this industry? If there is someone, what woman inspired you in this industry to be like, I know I can do this because she can do it too. Like, she may not be in sports info or sports communication, but, who, if anyone, like, inspired you to, like, go after your dreams and to work in sports?
First, I'll say the cliche of my mom, but Kristen's met my mom, so she understands this. Like I said, I'm the oldest of 5. And she was able to put all 5 of us through club sports. Like I said, they all played college sports. She came to almost everyone's games all the time, but she also was a high school coach. And now she's a high school and college line judge and ref. And she coaches club volleyball. She just like does it all and never complains and is always trying to be there for all 5 of us, which is crazy because that's a lot of time and effort, but she's our mom and she does it. But then another one of my really good friends, her name's Erin Bean. She's going to be wrapping up 3 years at the University of South Florida and taking over as, I think her new title is going to be Assistant Athletic Director of Marketing and Engagement. I'm not officially sure what her title is going to be, but at St. Leo. And she's the same age as me, but she's already like pursuing this great career. And the best part is I met her because I replaced her at Tennessee Tech. Like, she had built such a great relationship with the staff there that she came back and we got to meet, and then we got to work in NCAA Final Four together in 2014. And basically ever since then, we've just like hit it off and have always been there supporting and encouraging each other in chasing our dreams and our goals in such a crazy industry. So she's someone that I just absolutely love and adore in the industry, but also as a person.
That is cool.
It's inspiring that you say like her age too, because I think that's something that a lot of like, people or listeners, who want to get in the industry, but they feel like, oh, I'm not old enough to go after that position, or I don't have that much experience. Like, don't let age like hold you back from going after what you want. So I know my mom actually just told me this yesterday when we were in the car. coming from my grandma's house, because I was like, I'm not old enough for that. I don't have enough experience for that. And it's so inspiring that you just said, that your friend has this position now, and she's in our same age group. So
yeah, it's so awesome. And she actually is the one who brought me down to St. Leo originally. And the craziest thing was I only worked with her for like 3 months before she got the USF job, because she didn't have to move. So I was like, I understand. Like, I'm not mad at you. But now, because again, back to relationships, she was able to cultivate and grow and interact with the people at both schools. She's going back to St. Leo in a higher role.
Totally. And Jocelyn, just to give our listeners like a little bit of, like you said, your friend has like made some serious moves. I mean, you only graduated like what, five years ago?
2013. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you graduated 5 years ago and you're already where you are today, and you've already had all these experiences. And just think like this is 5 years post-graduation. I think that's awesome. And I think like it's realistic, like that can actually happen, especially for a female working, like you're working with men's and women's sports and you're a rock star. So I think that's cool for our to point out to our listeners.
Well, I appreciate that. And like I said, I love what I do, so it just makes it that much easier and more rewarding.
Awesome. Well, Jess, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. I think this was a really good dialogue. I think there was a lot of good information that our listeners can gather. And thank you so much for everything that you do for FAB as a member. I love seeing you in the newsletter. When I opened the email up, I was like, oh my gosh, that's Jocelyn. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it, and for your continued support too.
Of course. I enjoyed talking to you guys today.
Our listeners have been such a huge part of what makes this podcast a success, and we want to hear from you guys. So tweet us at FABSports.org and hashtag the FAB Podcast and tell us some of the most inspiring women in the sports industry and why. And don't forget to tag them in the tweet as well, because you might hear them on the next FAB Podcast. You've been listening to the FAB Podcast, a co-production of Females in Athletic Business and With Sports. For more conversations from the world of women, including articles, blogs, videos, and podcast sports, visit withsports.com. And follow us on social media at WithSports. Be sure to subscribe to With Sports Radio on any podcast player or app.
And make sure to visit Females in Athletic Business at www.fabsportsorg.com and on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at FabSportsOrg. And thanks again to our sponsor, It's On, a lifestyle and apparel brand devoted to motivating players and people to achieve through hard work, dedication, discipline, and effort. Never forget where you came from and never stop believing in where you're going. And make sure to visit them online at www.itsoneverywhere.com. Thanks for listening to the FAB Podcast and supporting women in sports.